Hello and welcome. My name's Angie Holden and I'm the blogger behind The Country Chic Cottage. So today I'm going to talk about getting a metal look on your projects like this sign, all with your Cricut Explore or your Cricut Maker and the deep point blade. What is my secret? So it is a product called MetalFects. New to me product. It's sort of like a chipboard with a metal finish applied over the outside. And one of the best features is it's self-adhesive. So literally the MetalFects, my Cricut Explore, a sign, some paint, and I have a cute kitchen sign all within a few minutes. So I'm going to walk you through how to use MetalFects and how kind of not to use it. So we are going to mess up a little bit and do some things they say not to do on the package, so you'll know when your project's messed up what to do to fix it. So let's take a look first of all at the MetalFects product and what's included in the package. So here's the product that we're going to talk about. It is called MetalFects and it is a metal look craft sheet. What comes in the package? So you get one package and 4 sheets of the MetalFects come in it, as well as instructions for use. So the MetalFects itself is kind of like a chipboard, white on the back. It is self-adhesive. So if I peel back this white, there is an adhesive there. It is like a chipboard, so it does require the deep cut blade. So that means that you can use it in an Explorer or a Maker, but not in the Joy. They do also recommend that your images not be thinner than 1/2 inch or approximate width of 2 pencils. So I am going to test this with some smaller stuff just to see what will happen, and then hopefully we'll end up with a project at the end where I don't have those thin pieces and I have a cute project to show with the MetalFects themselves. So right now it just comes in the one metal finish. Hopefully we're going to cross our fingers that they come out with more soon. And we are going to look at how to cut this, and I'm going to use an Explore Air 2, but again you can use any of the Explorers, any of the Makers, as long as you have the deep point blade installed. So let's take a look at the supplies we're going to use for our project, and then we're going to start cutting one shape out of this sheet and just see what happens. For our project, we're going to use the MetalFects. I have a wood canvas is what they're called. So it's kind of meant to be used on this side, but I like to use them on this side to make signs. I have 2 different colors of craft paint. You will need a strong grip mat as well as your deep point blade. So first I'm going to paint this sign and set it aside, and then we're going to talk about cutting the MetalFects. So here's my sign completely painted and actually dried. I used a creamy off-white for the inside and black for the frame portion, and then I'm going to put the design I cut with MetalFects on the inside of this wood panel. So now let's head to our Cricut machine and start cutting our MetalFects. The first thing you want to do is put your sheet face up on your strong grip mat. And they do recommend that you not place it all the way to the white line on your cutting mat, so I'm going to place it just a little bit over. And the first thing you may notice is that these sheets are 11 inches by 11 inches. So you will want to keep your design within that. And then you want to press it down really well on the mat. I find a brayer works well for that. Not required at all. You could definitely just go over it with something else, but a brayer is a nice smooth way to go over the top and make sure it's on your mat really well. So now let's head to Design Space, take a look at what we're going to cut and the custom material setting. This is the design that I'm going to try to cut. I think some of these pieces might be a little small, but I want to see what happens first, and then we can adjust the design to cut. Now this is an free SVG, and I will link to it in the description below. So first of all, I have sized the entire design, and it is 9 by 12. But I just said that the material is 11 by 11. So this is in 2 pieces. So the farm fresh eggs, 25 cents is 1 piece, and the chicken is a second piece. So the chicken will cut out of a separate sheet, so it will work with the 11 by 11 sheets. So I have Explore chosen as my machine, and I'm going to click Make It. And now we can see that the words are on one sheet, that fits within that 11 by 11. Remember I said I moved it slightly over, so I'm going to move it slightly over here as well. And I'm actually going to cut this chicken first, just as a test. So I'm going to move him over just a little bit, and then I'm going to click continue. I have the dial on my Explorer set to custom, and I'm going to click browse all materials. Once you're on the all materials screen, you can click material settings in the lower left hand corner, scroll all the way to the bottom, and you can click add new material. You will only have to do this once, so I'm going to call it MetalFects, and I'm going to click save, and we want to set it for the deep point blade. So deep point blade 295 8 times. So we want to add those settings to Cricut Design Space for MetalFects. Once this is set up, you can pick MetalFects for further cuts directly from your custom material menu. So now we have it set up to cut. We're going to click save. Now we can close the custom materials menu. And now when we click browse all materials, we can put metal, and MetalFects is now an option. So this will be for every machine. So if you get a new machine, you have a Maker and an Explorer, you will have to set it up 2 times. Now it tells you to load the deep point blade and press the load button to start your cut. So let's head to our Cricut Explore and cut our chicken shape and see what happens. So I have my Cricut Explore. Once again, it's set to custom, and I just showed you how to pick that custom material. I have moved my white star wheels all the way to the side. This is why the material is only 11 inches, so that those wheels don't mar your surface. And then we want to remove the fine point blade and add the deep point blade to clamp B. Now I can put the mat that I already prepared into the Cricut machine and load it. Now I'll press the C button to start my cut. Let's take a look at something that might happen to you when this material is cutting. So if you see this piece right here, it actually cut and sort of popped out. So it's a small piece within the design, so it's like in between the chicken's legs. All I did was pause the machine, and then I can remove that piece, discard it as it was scrap, click the pause button again to start the cut. So occasionally during the cutting process for these multiple cut pieces, I suggest that you pause it and check to see if it's cut all the way through. So when they were talking about the 2 pencil widths, I did go against that with these chickens, with the chicken's feet here, and it is shredding a little bit. So I'm just going to kind of lift up, and what's happening is those layers are separating, but it is not cut all the way through. So I'm going to go ahead and let this cut all the way through so we can see what happens, and then we'll talk about adjusting our design to where it works with this material. So when the cut is done, I also recommend that you check this before you remove it from your machine. So what I like to do is sort of peel up the material and make sure it's cut completely and all the way through, and this one is. So I'll go ahead and remove it from the machine. So you want to be sure that this liner on the back peels off. So when I make sure that the liner on the back also peels off, I can make sure that I can actually use this material again and save my scrap piece. So I'm just going to put this liner back on, and then I'm just going to kind of work on popping the chicken out. So there is my chicken cut from MetalFects. So let's take a closer look. So what happened was, because these feet were so thin, this is what they're talking about. The layers of the material will begin to separate. So you can see this is kind of a chipboard with a chipboard metal-like finish on the top and an adhesive on the back. The chicken itself looks amazing, but when you have thin details like this foot, it does get messed up. So let's talk about how to fix that in Cricut Design Space so that you have thicker designs to cut out of this material. All right, so now let's take a look at our original design. So first of all, I'm going to ungroup this. I am going to move the chicken over. So to fix the chicken, we could do a few things. We could contour out this middle portion. We could try to make his legs a little thicker, but I think we also need to fix this font. So let's concentrate on it first, and then we'll see if we even still think we need the chicken maybe. So the first thing I would do with this is maybe bulk up you could pick a different font and kind of recreate it, or you could bulk up what's already here. To do that, I would put an offset, very small offset, and that sort of bulks up all of the lines. So I'm going to click apply, and now you can see that looks bulked up, but how do you make that one cut? To do that, I'm going to pick both, and I'm going to pick weld. Now all my lines are all of a sudden thicker, and it looks a little better. When you thicken up the lines, it may be that you might need to change the size. So I'm going to do 9 by 12 with this. So this could be by itself alone something that you would use without the chicken. But we could also try to fix the chicken and the chicken's feet to use on this as well. So let's bring our chicken over. And the first thing I'm going to do is use the contour feature to remove this small hole. And we'll just remove that and click the X. So now we've gotten rid of that. Now I would like to bulk up those feet, but maybe not the entire chicken. So let's pull the chicken over here and let's do an offset. And this time let's do a little bit more and click apply. And so this time I can actually just get rid of this top chicken. And now I just want the feet from this chicken. So I'm just going to use a shape and sort of slice away the body and add these thicker feet to my original chicken. So I'm just going to pull this and now pick them both, slice, get rid of everything except those feet, put the feet over the existing feet. So what I just want to make sure is that these feet are over the top of the existing feet and that they meet the body in some way. And then I'm going to pick both of these and do weld. So now I have a chicken with thicker feet that would probably work with the MetalFects, if that makes sense. So now I'm going to take this because I want my entire design to be 9 by 12. So we're going to make this maybe 9 by 10, and 9 by 9, something like that. And we will resize the chicken again, put him over the top. We want to make both of these the same color. So we'll make this one out of gray. This is still a little bit too big, so I'm going to try making it a 9 by 9 and then pick them both. And we're about at 9 by 12. So let's pick them both, center everything up, and group, unlock, and make it 9 by 12. So now everything's 9 by 12. I've beefed up the lines, and we can zoom in a little bit, and then we can take a closer look at the lines. And any that we think might still be too thin, we could bulk up like with an additional line. So maybe I think this line is still a little bit too thin. I could add a square over the top of that. And if I like that, I could just weld it into place. The only thing I may do is contour out these small pieces on the cents. Otherwise, I think maybe we have something that will cut. So let me contour that out. And now that those two pieces are removed, I think this will cut pretty well. So let's put it to the test with cutting our chicken once again and see if it looks better. And then we can cut the rest of our letters and talk about putting those on our sign. So I did just want to point out, you can see the marring on the one side. So this is the piece that I already ran through my Cricut machine, and the star wheels just caught the very edge. And so you can see how it's going to mar up the surface if you leave those in place. All right, so I have my material on my mat once again, and this is the other side of the piece I already cut. And we are going to cut this revised chicken. So once again, I have my material set to custom, and I've picked my custom material, and then we're just going to feed the material into the machine. I have it stuck down well on the strong grip mat and my deep point blade installed, and then we're just going to cut. So once the cut's complete, we'll just remove it. And now let's take a look at this revised chicken. So this time I can just pop it off of the mat, and this one is ready to go onto the sign. So it looks really good. Once we bulked up those cuts, it looks amazing. So now let's try some text and see what happens. So once this is done cutting, remember, you'll need to check your cuts, make sure they're cut all the way through. You can hit the C button or the go button on your machine and do another pass if it's not all the way through, or you could just pull this off and use something like a craft knife to finish those cuts. So now let's pull this off and let's look at making our sign. All right, so I pulled this off the mat, and remember, we have to get all these letters over to the sign. So I pulled it off sort of like as one piece, and let's go ahead and we'll flip it over. And all of these kind of stay in here. I have some of them falling out, but overall, what I can do is use like the outline as sort of a template of where to place my letters. Let's go ahead and pop all these letters out, and I'll show you what I'm talking about as far as being a template. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the letters, and I'm going to put them upside down on my work table. So the adhesive side, remember these are self-adhesive, adhesive side up, and we're going to stick those to our sign. So I'm going to go ahead and keep removing all these pieces and put them adhesive side up on my work table. All right, so I pulled all the pieces off, and I just sort of used some scissors to trim this around. And remember, I showed you that this is in layers. So I'm worked on the side, and I am separating the layers. So basically, I want to peel this adhesive off, this whole backing portion, because I'm going to use it like a template to place all these pieces in the right location. So this is like, I don't want to use a transfer tape. I'm afraid it'll mess up that metal looking surface on the front. Like, I don't want any residue on it. So I think this will be the easiest thing to do. And get it where I can center everything up, make sure everything's straight. And then pick my letters up one by one, put them adhesive side down onto my sign, and press down well. So I'll just repeat this for all of my letters, getting them into location on my sign. Then once they're all on there, I can just pick up this extra piece that I used as a template, and all of my letters are in location and stuck down with that adhesive. So now I have a cute metal looking sign, all with my Cricut Explore and MetalFects. So now you know how to get that gorgeous farmhouse galvanized look with metal right in your Cricut Explore or your Cricut Maker with MetalFects. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoy this product. I will link to everything I use below, including the MetalFects. It will be in the description below the video. If you're watching on computer, you'll have to click show more. If you're watching on mobile, just swipe up and you should see the full description for the video. If you have any questions about anything we covered, any questions about the product, please ask those in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this, learned something new, give us a thumbs up. If you haven't already, head on over to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. We have Cricut videos every week, and trust me, you don't want to miss any of them. Hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next week. Thanks. Bye-bye.